Chapter 11. When he opened his eyes again, the sky had turned dark, and Fu Yin greeted him with a smile. "Little beauty, you're finally awake. You've slept for 3 days this time." Bai Jing propped up his hands and jumped out of the medical cabin with agile movements. With the jump just now, he could feel the huge change in his body, as if he had broken away from the heavy body, filled with an endless sense of lightness. And his perception seemed to have been greatly enhanced, but it could not be verified for a while. Turning on the brain, Bai Jing found that his basic data had changed. ID 105-316-6247. Name: Bai Jing. Sex: male. Age: 18. Status: citizen of the Galactic Empire. Gene level: C level, formerly D level. Physical fitness level: A level, formerly B level. Mental strength level: A level. Skill name: none. Both the genetic level and the physical level have increased by 1 level, but the mental level has not changed. This is somewhat different from what Bai Jing thought. He can clearly feel the increase in his perception. Congratulations, the genetic decay has been completely cured. The most amazing thing is that your body has actually caused a mutation during the healing process, improving your genes and physical fitness level. This is a 1-in-1 probability. Fu Yin pushed the gold glasses on the bridge of his nose and said with a smile, "For the sake of my treatment, would you like to give me a hug?" "No thanks." Bai Jing refused expressionlessly. "Excuse me, what is the cost of the treatment?" "This is unnecessary. Young Master Gu has already paid for it." As soon as Fu Yin finished speaking, Bai Jing walked to the door. "Hey, little beauty, don't you really want to hug me?" The answer to him was a loud bang sound of the door closing. Fu Yin touched his nose angrily. Alas, the little beauty is just as ruthless as Gu Xiao. Bai Jing took the suspended train home. This time, he was no longer dizzy by the galloping high speed as before, but adapted to this speed. This is the change brought about by the special gene fluid, and now he is almost no different from the interstellar aborigines. Back in his small suite, Bai Jing took a comfortable hot shower as soon as he walked in. Although the medical cabin is in sterile mode and won't come into contact with dirt, he still washes himself carefully before putting on a clean robe. After blow-drying her hair, Bai Jing spent 50,000 star coins to buy enough ingredients to fill the entire storage room. The preservation technology of interstellar food is very advanced, which can preserve the activity of the food to the maximum extent. Even if it is stored for several months, the nutrients will not be lost at all. Looking at the pile of ingredients, he felt an unprecedented peace of mind. In the last days, food is scarce, and only in this way will he feel safe. Dinner is a plate of oily braised pork and a plate of fried lotus root slices. The braised pork is fat but not greasy. The lotus root slices are crisp and refreshing, and Bai Jing is very satisfied. After the meal, he summed up the experience of gambling stone in Guzwell area a little bit, and carried out in-depth study corresponding to the knowledge points. Bai Jing also learned later that the agreement he signed with the Gu family stipulated that the annual salary of 5 million star coins was equivalent to the salary of a senior stone gambler in the market, and he was not even a stone gambler apprentice now. A ray of doubt suddenly surged in Bai Jing's heart. Does young Master Gu trust him so much? Or what did he find? In any case, since the agreement was signed, he must become a stone gambler as soon as possible, otherwise he will not be able to get this reward with peace of mind. It took 2 days to integrate the knowledge points, and Bai Jing came to Gu's number 5 wool area early in the morning, intending to test how far his perception has improved. He turned on his brain, and his personal account showed that there were still more than 700,000 star coins. You can go and see what the performance of higher-level wool materials is, and expand your horizons by the way. Bai Jing went directly to the B-grade wool area. The price of grade B wool is between 100,000 and 1 million stars. The display cabinet is much better than the E area. It uses a white marble countertop, and there is a bottom bracket under each piece of wool to prevent the wool from wearing. In addition, there are induction infrared rays and guards with guns next to the stone platform to ensure the safety of the wool. The amount of wool in the B-grade wool area is relatively small, only 1/5 of that in the E area. Bai Jing looked at it in turn and found that there was no obvious flaw in any piece of wool material. All of them were fine leather and sand leather of good quality. The surface was covered with pine flower python belts, and there was no coarse leather. The scraps of 500 star coins per kilogram can't really be compared with these hundreds of thousands of star coins. Thinking like this, Bai Jing picked a piece of white sandskin that performed well and tried it. Perception quickly penetrates into the wool material, and the active reaction is not strong. It should be the most common bean species. It is a pity that this bean sea jadeite is not big, only about 2 or 3 kilograms. Take a look at the price of this piece of wool material numbered A12, 200,000 star coins. Bai Jing looked away. The price of jade inside was far from the price of wool itself. He continued to use his perception to detect 7 or 8 wool materials. According to his opinion, the performance of these wool materials is very good, and there is a high probability that emeralds will be produced. However, after using perception, it was found that there was only one piece of jadeite inside, and the piece of wool with jadeite was not the one that performed better, but the one that he thought was the worst. This discovery broke Bai Jing's cognition and made him realize that his understanding of gambling stones was too superficial, and it was undoubtedly a waste of time to look at it with such a half-knowledge. After thinking about it clearly, Bai Jing no longer specifically judged the quality of wool, but focused on testing the limits of abilities. Perception penetrated into piece after piece of wool material, until the 16th piece of wool material was detected. Bai Jing felt the familiar dizziness, and hurriedly supported the edge of the marble table. After the strong dizziness passed, Bai Jing came to the final conclusion. His current perception limit is 15 times, which is a full 1/3 increase. It seems that the 10 special-grade gene fluids not only cured his genetic decay, but also greatly improved his abilities. Only, he looked at the judgment that the mental power level on the attribute panel was still A level, and had a guess in his heart. Could it be that his perception power and the mental power of this era are two completely different abilities? If this is the case, he needs to keep this secret well and must not reveal the slightest. At night, Bai Jing followed the steps he found on the Star Network, logged in to the official website of the Stone Gambling Association, and registered his personal information. The certification of the Stone Gambling Association is extremely strict, and it must be connected to the optical brain for real name certification to ensure the authenticity of the spiritual power level. Bai Jing sent the video data of how he solved the bean CJ to the guild mailbox. After a few minutes, the voicemail returned, and after opening, a sweet female voice came. Congratulations to Bai Jing, a citizen of the Empire with ID 105-316-6247, who successfully passed the primary review of the Gambling Stone Apprentice. Spiritual Power Level A Level Pass. Successfully bet up once in the Gambling Stone. Pass. Please attend the training at 10 a.m. on May 1st, 835 Ephemeris at the second block of the main city of Proxima Centauri, Gambling Stone Branch, and 1 month later to participate in the final assessment of the Gambling Stone Apprenticeship held by the headquarters. The training fee is 10,000 stars. Please pay the fee as soon as possible and sign the training confidentiality agreement. Thank you. Bai Jing quickly manipulated the optical brain to complete the payment, signed the non-disclosure agreement, and sent it back. A smile appeared in those beautiful brown eyes. What he needs most at the moment is the study of the knowledge system of gambling stones, and this training is like giving charcoal in the snow, and the timing is just right. Bai Jing is indeed very lucky. The assessment of the Stone Gambling Apprentice is only once a year. If he misses it, he will have to wait until the next year, and the time for his registration is just right. At this time, there was less than a week before the training, and Bai Jing couldn't help but start to look forward to it while searching for information on the Star Network. In the early morning of the same day, Bai Jing took the morning suspended train to the second largest block in the main city of Proxima Centauri, occupying almost half of the street's address of the Gambling Stone branch of Proxima Centauri. The building of the branch is an antique European-style building, which is more magnificent because of its wide area. The pure white appearance is elegant and atmospheric, and the reliefs are lifelike. Looking closely, the surface of the building is coated with a layer of extremely expensive nanomaterials, which has a delicate and restrained luster. It is retro and luxurious. It is unique among the future buildings, as smooth as a mirror, and can be recognized at a glance. According to reports, among the more than 100 planets ruled by the Empire, the Stone Gambling Guild has branches on the top 20 planets. The headquarters of the Stone Gambling Guild is located in the most prosperous capital city of Star City, a place worthy of the name. The Proxima branch is the third largest, after Mobixing and Juwaxing. Standing outside the door, Bai Jing took a closer look at this huge, palace-like building, and then swiped the optical brain on the detector at the door, showing that the verification was passed. Under the instructions of the robot at the front desk, he came to the training room number 8. Since it was still early, there was no one in the empty training room for the time being. Bai Jing looked at the layout of the room and found a seat in the middle of the first row, intending to listen carefully in class and absorb as much knowledge as possible. After 9 o'clock, other people pushed the door one after another and entered. Most of them were young boys and girls in their 14th or 15th-year-old season. Besides, there were also a few young people in their 20s. Most of them are well-dressed, boys in smooth silk shirts and trousers, girls in tailored suits or gowns, and some even handcrafted haute couture. This is also normal. Stone gambling is an industry that burns money. What's more, the level of stone gambling masters depends on points and winning rate. Without sufficient financial support, it is impossible to obtain enough points and experience. As soon as the group of luxuriously dressed young men and women entered the door, they saw Bai Jing sitting in the first row, and they all showed expressions of surprise and contempt. The humble t-shirt and trousers, and the black-rimmed glasses with dirt on the bridge of the nose. This guy doesn't come from the slums, does he? Now the people in the slums also have money to gamble on stones? Let's go and sit in the back. The girl who was surrounded by the stars and the moon in the center was extremely gorgeous, with an arrogance in her eyebrows that could not be ignored. She wears a royal blue long skirt with sloping shoulders, with delicate diamonds hanging at the tail, and the perfect cut completely outlines her slender waist, which is very valuable at first glance. The girl took out the spa and waved it in the air with disgust, as if she was afraid of being infected by this poor and sour gas, and sat straight to the 6th row. Okay, Yuxuan, we all listen to you. Everyone agreed. This girl was the second largest wool miner in Proxima Centauri after the Gu family, Ning Yuxuan, the youngest daughter of Ning Qiuqian. The Ning family is a veritable noble family. The Galaxy Wool area on the main street is the property of the Ning family. With countless wool resources, it is inevitable for Ning Yuxuan to become a stone gambler. The crowd gathered around Ning Yuxuan diligently, sarcasm by Jing, who was sitting in front from time to time, in order to please the other party. If you can get the favor of Ningjia Mingzhu, maybe you can enjoy a lot of discounts when you go to buy wool. It's a pity that no matter how they taunted them, Bai Jing couldn't hear them. With sound-blocking earplugs plugged into his ears, he was focusing on the knowledge of gambling stones on the light screen, completely ignoring everything in the outside world. This was the idea he had when he heard the frenzied shouting of the fans in the gambling stone shop last time. Fortunately, the Interstellar technology developed this kind of small and lightweight earplugs, which are very suitable for taking out and using at any time. Near 10 o'clock, there were more than 60 people in the training room. Most of them came from noble or wealthy families, and there were only 4 or 5 civilians. The latter bowed his head and timidly walked towards the last row, causing the young men and women to sneer, but did not dare to refute at all. In the huge classroom, Bai Jing was the only person sitting in the first 5 rows, but his expression was calm, and he didn't feel the uneasiness and anxiety of being isolated. In the back, a young man named Ngu secretly looked at Bai Jing, who was sitting in front, with extremely complicated emotions in his eyes. He was also born in a slum. When he was a child, he accidentally entered the restricted area because of playfulness, and was caused by cosmic radiation to cause an extremely rare mutation. His mental power directly changed from D level to top level S level, and thus received the support of the aristocratic Shen family. But the Shen family will only subsidize his tuition fees and gambling training expenses, and other expenses such as living expenses are earned by his own hard work. A month before the training, he worked until late at night every day, drinking only half a bottle of nutrient solution for each meal, and finally saved 2,000 star coins by frugality every day. Just yesterday, Ngu gritted his teeth and bought a set of well-crafted clothes with all the star coins he had accumulated, just because he didn't want others to know that he was from a slum. He couldn't stand the contemptuous and mocking gazes of those noble disciples. Those gazes were like knives, inch by inch lingering on his self-esteem, so that he would never be able to lift his head up. But at this moment, looking at the young man sitting in the first row with a straight back and an indifferent face, Ngu was shocked and full of admiration. At least he couldn't be so calm and calm. He lowered his head, and his thin, calloused fingers unconsciously clenched the corners of his clothes, and a feeling of fullness emerged in his heart. What is it then? He does not know. Just the moment he saw Bai Jing, Ngu felt that what he had always cared about didn't seem to be that important anymore.